Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the president urged Congress to take a responsible approach to deficit reduction instead of the indiscriminate, across-the-board spending cuts called the sequester. He also met with the Prime Minister of Japan, America's governors, and the country's only all-black Army Ranger unit, and unveiled a truly moving monument to Rosa Parks. That's February 22nd to February 28th, or Hope Springs Eternal.
And I will just keep on making my case not only to Congress, but more importantly, the American people. We should take a smart approach to deficit reduction and do it in a way that doesn't endanger our economy and endanger jobs.
On Friday, Prime Minister Abe of Japan visited the White House for a bilateral meeting with the president, where they discussed the important relationship between our two countries. At the end, a reporter asked the president to comment on what was at the forefront of everyone's mind that day, the looming sequester.
This is not a smart way for us to reduce the deficit. There's an alternative, which is for us to take the kind of balanced approach that I presented, where we have more strategic cuts on programs we don't need, and we close some tax loopholes that are taken advantage of only by the well-connected and the well-off.
That afternoon, the White House Office of Digital Strategy hosted programmers from across the country for an Open Data Day hackathon, where participants were given access to We the People Petition's API in an effort to find ways to make the online platform both more detailed and more user-friendly. On Monday, the President, Vice President, First Lady, and Dr. Biden spoke at the meeting of the National Governors Association. The President praised governors for working across party lines and called for that same kind of cooperation in Washington, D.C.
All of us are elected officials. All of us are concerned about our politics. But at some point, we've got to do some governing. And certainly what we can't do is keep careening from manufactured crisis to manufactured crisis.
On Tuesday, the president traveled to Newport News, Virginia, to visit a shipbuilding facility and highlight the devastating impact the sequester would have on jobs and middle-class families, and to urge Congress to take action to replace these arbitrary across-the-board spending cuts with balanced deficit reduction.
Do I close funding for the disabled kid or the poor kid? Do I close this Navy shipyard or some other one? When you're doing things in a way that's not smart, you can't gloss over the pain and the impact it's going to have on the economy. And the broader point is, Virginia, we can't just cut our way to prosperity. That's not fair. And it's not good for the economy.
West Wing Week caught up with the president and CEO of Huntington Ingalls Industries to hear his take on what's at stake in the sequester negotiations.
For our programs, this is really about the generation after next, the administration after next. The platforms that we start this year, the ships that we start this year will be making history for the next 50 years. And so if we could think about future generations, maybe we can find a way to get through this.
On Wednesday morning, the president was one of the leaders on hand at the U.S. Capitol for the unveiling of a monument honoring civil rights icon Rosa Parks, 100 years after she was born and 58 years after she refused to give up her seat on an Alabama city bus.
We see the way things are, children hungry in a land of plenty, families hobbled by job loss or illness, and we make excuses for inaction. And we say to ourselves, there's nothing I can do. Rosa Parks tells us there's always something we can do.
Then, as African American History Month came to a close, the president honored members of the 2nd Ranger Infantry Company, a Ranger light infantry company active during the Korean War, and the United States' first and only all-black Ranger unit. They then all made their way to the East Room, where the president reflected on the meaning of the month-long celebration. Meanwhile, Secretary Duncan helped host a White House event in the South Court Auditorium called Taking Action, creating model emergency management plans for schools, institutions of higher education, and houses of worship. All this was a part of the president's plan to protect our children and communities by reducing gun violence, one of the 23 executive actions to reduce gun violence that he announced on January 16th.
Learn from each other, learn together, go back home to our communities. It makes me hopeful about where we can go despite the tremendous challenges we face.
The day ended with a visit to a gathering of the Business Council, where the president spoke about pursuing a balanced approach to deficit reduction, because it's in the interest of the American economy and American businesses, large and small.
This is going to be a big hit on the economy. That means hundreds of thousands of people are not going to get jobs that otherwise would get them. It means that you have fewer customers The worst part of it is it's entirely unnecessary. It's not what we should be doing.
On Thursday, the president met with the commander-in-chief of the VFW and the national commander of the American Legion to find out more information on any of these second-term topics. To make your voice heard and to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Yeah, well, Parks, the Parks side.
Come on. What's your name? Here, go with me.
You got the book?
Uh-oh.
Say cheese.
What's your name? How old are you?